Good afternoon, class. We shall be starting from where we left. That is, we'll be having few more questions on inventory turnover ratio. Right. So write down the question, please. The question is revenue from operations. Revenue from operations rupees 4 lakh. Revenue from operations rupees 4 lakh. Gross profit rupees 1 lakh. Closing inventory rupees 1,20,000. Closing inventory rupees 1,20,000. Excess of closing inventory over opening inventory rupees 40,000. Excess of closing inventory over opening inventory rupees 40,000. Calculate inventory turnover ratio. What do you need to calculate? Inventory turnover ratio. What the question is, the revenue from operations 4 lakh, gross profit rupees 1 lakh, excess of closing stock over opening stock is 40,000, and the value of closing stock is 1,20,000. You are supposed to calculate the inventory turnover ratio. Make it fast, class. How would you calculate? The formula is what? The formula is the stock turnover ratio is cost of goods sold divided by what? Average stock. Divided by average stock. Now, how to calculate cost of goods sold? There are different ways of calculating, but which formula is going to be used over here? You have revenue from operation is also known as sales. Gross profit is rupees 1 lakh. So the formula would be sales minus gross profit. The formula that you're going to use is sales minus gross profit. You have sales as how much? Sales as rupees 4 lakh and gross profit as rupees 1 lakh, isn't it? So what do you get? You get cost of goods sold as rupees 3 lakhs, right? Now, what do we have in the form of average stock? The formula for calculating average stock is average stock may be calculated as closing or opening stock plus closing stock divided by what? 2. Now, what is opening stock? Opening stock, you need to calculate. Closing stock is given. Closing stock is 1,20,000. And the question says, this closing stock is rupees 40,000 more than the opening stock. Huh? Yes or no? The closing stock is rupees 40,000 more than the opening stock. So if closing stock is rupees 1,20,000, it is in excess by how much? 40,000. So what is the value of opening stock, or what would be the value of opening stock? 80,000. Very good. 80,000 plus what? 1,20,000 divided by 2, you get as 1 lakh of average stock. Right? Putting the formula or putting the values into the formula, you get 3 lakhs as cost of goods sold and 1 lakh of average stock. Stock turnover ratio is 3 times. Stock turnover ratio is 3 times. Inventory turnover. Turnover ratios are not calculated in terms of ratios, law number 8. It is always calculated in terms of times. How many times? Right? It shows that we are selling thrice our average stock. What we have in the stock is being sold 3 times in the market. Right? Shall we be writing the next question? Should I rub this? Now write down the next question. Raising the bar a bit. Right. The question: from the following data, calculate inventory turnover ratio or stock turnover ratio. Rupees 2 lakh is cost of revenue from operations. Inventory turnover ratio is 8 times. Inventory turnover ratio is 8 times. Full stop. Stock at the end of the year उसमें एक चीज लिखना, वो जो ऊपर में लिखे थे ना, कैलकुलेट इन्वेंटरी टर्नओवर रेशियो, उसको हटा दो. Calculate inventory at the end of the year comma if inventories at the end is 1.5 times that of in the beginning, full stop. Is the question clear? Stock turnover ratio is 8 times. Cost of revenue from operations is 2 lakhs. You are supposed to calculate the stock at the end of the year as well as at the beginning of the year. वहाँ पे beginning शायद मैंने नहीं लिखवाया, end और beginning दोनों निकालना है. और ये मानते हुए कि stock at the end of the year is 1.5 times to that of the stock in the beginning. I have done nothing. क्या बनेगा? कितना देर? क्या होगा आंसर? ओपनिंग स्टॉक 2000. रोल नंबर 8. Stock turnover ratio. So stock STR, stock turnover ratio is equal to COGS by what? Average stock. Is the value of stock turnover ratio given? 8 is to, yeah, 8 times. So 8 by 1 हो जाएगा. Value of COGS is given or not? Value of COGS is given. हाँ तो वही तो वो cost of revenue is cost of goods sold. Cost of revenue मतलब whatever we have sold or whatever we have made as sales, what is the cost of that revenue? The cost of that revenue is 2 lakhs. Therefore, what is the value of average stock? Average stock is equal to 25,000. The value of average stock will be how much? If you solve this, you will be getting as what? 25,000. Yes or no? Now the question says that closing stock is 1.5 times to that of opening stock. So let opening stock be X. Opening stock be how much? Be X. Therefore, closing stock will be 1.5x. Yes or no? 1.5x. Now, average stock is equal to what? Opening stock plus closing stock by 2. We have average stock as 25,000. Opening stock as X plus 1.5x divided by what? 2. This is what we are having. So what we get? 50,000 is equal to 2.5x, or x is equal to how much? 50,000 into 10 by 25. Yes or no? 25 to the 50. X is equal to how much? 20,000. So X we have assumed to be what? Opening stock. The value of opening stock is how much? 20,000. And the closing stock is 1.5 times more than the opening stock. The closing stock का value क्या होगा? 30,000. Yes or no? Now calculate average stock. 20,000 plus 30,000 by 2. It comes to 25,000. Is the question clear? right? From the following informations, determine opening and closing inventories. Determine opening and closing inventories. Inventory turnover ratio 5 times. Inventory turnover ratio 5 times. Total sales 2 lakhs. Gross profit ratio 25%. Closing inventory is more by rupees 4,000 than the opening stock. Closing inventory is more by rupees 4,000 than the opening stock. बन गया क्वेश्चन, बस इतना ही है, बनाइए इसको. क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग यहाँ पर? मोबाइल में क्लास चल रहा है ना? Hmm. 28,000 and 32,000 अब बनाएंगे तो अपना पता चलेगा. Let me solve. Anybody? 22,000 and 18,000. 4,000 का आंसर आना है. क्या कहना है? सेल्स इज 2 lakhs, है ना? Sales is how much? The value of sales is 2 lakhs. And gross profit ratio is GP ratio. GP ratio is 25%. Gross profit ratio is always calculated on sales. So GP ratio is equal to what? GP ratio is equal to GP by net sales into 100. Into what? 100. तो यहाँ पे चूंकि रेशियो है इसलिए 25/100 यहाँ पर आ गया. और ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट हम लोगों को निकालना है. सेल्स क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ इट इज एज 2 lakhs. Therefore gross profit is equal to how much? 2 lakhs into 25 by 100 is rupees 50,000. Is rupees how much? 50,000. Therefore, COGS will be how much? Sales minus GP. 2 lakh minus 50,000 is equal to 1,50,000. अब क्या रहा है, ये एक एस्पेक्ट वी हैव डन. अब जो सेकेंड एस्पेक्ट कह रहा है कि क्लोजिंग स्टॉक जो है कौन किससे बड़ा है? तो लेट ओपनिंग स्टॉक बी एक्स. क्लोजिंग स्टॉक क्या हो जाएगा? x प्लस 4,000. तो अब एवरेज स्टॉक क्या हो जाएगा? x प्लस 4/2 ना. अच्छा हाँ सॉरी 4,000/2. तो ये अगर इसको और ब्रेक करें तो ये 2x प्लस 4,000/2 हो गया. और 2 को अगर बाहर ले लें तो x प्लस 2,000/2 हो गया. 2 कैंसिल. x प्लस 2,000 हो गया. ये सुनो, एवरेज स्टॉक कितना हो गया? x प्लस 2,000. अब अगर इसको हम लोग सॉल्व करें, कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स 5 टाइम्स ये दिया हुआ है क्या कुछ? 5 टाइम्स दिया हुआ है. तो 5 बाई कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड कितना हो गया? 1,50,000 डिवाइडेड बाई एवरेज स्टॉक. Therefore, average stock is equal to 30,000. एवरेज स्टॉक इज कितना हो गया? 30,000. अब इसके वैल्यू को पुट कर देना है. 30,000 इज इक्वल टू x प्लस 2,000 और x इज इक्वल टू 28,000. रोल नंबर 27 का आंसर सही था. x इज इक्वल टू कितना आ गया? 28,000. तो दिस इज व्हाट? दिस इज ओपनिंग स्टॉक. Therefore, क्लोजिंग स्टॉक बराबर क्या हो जाएगा? क्लोजिंग स्टॉक 28,000 plus 4,000 is equal to how much? 32,000. You could have checked your answer also. जिसने 18 और 22 बोला तो 18 और 22 कितना होता है? 40 होता है. 40 को 2 से डिवाइड करोगे तो कितना आएगा? 20,000. लेकिन हमारा एवरेज स्टॉक कितना आ रहा है? तो आंसर तो सही गलत है. तो 28,000 प्लस 32,000, 60,000 डिवाइडेड बाई 2, 30,000. The answer is correct. Should we write the next question? The question is, following figures have been extracted from Shivalika Mills Limited. Shivalika Mills Limited. Opening inventory 60,000. क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री 1 लाख, क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री 1 लाख, स्टॉक टर्नओवर रेशियो 8 टाइम्स, selling price 25% above cost, compute amount of gross profit and revenue from operations. क्या बनेगा? लास्ट क्लास में आवाज थी ना? क्या हम्म GP is equal to let provide me with the informations. क्या क्या है? हाँ बस रुक जाओ. Average stock is equal to opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. So opening is 60,000, closing is 8 lakh divided by 2. ये हो गया 80,000. Yes or no? हुआ ना? Average stock turnover ratio का formula we need to write down. STR is equal to COGS by average stock. STR is how many times? 5 times. 8 times. COGS we don't know, we need to find out. Average stock we have calculated as what? 80,000. Therefore, you get COGS as rupees 6,40,000. Yes or no? Now the question is saying the gross profit is 25% of of selling price 25% above cost. So you are making a profit of rupees 25 per 100 rupees of cost. यही कह रहा है ना क्वेश्चन. हर एक 100 रुपए के कॉस्ट पे आप 25 रुपए क्या कर रहे हैं? प्रॉफिट कमा रहे हैं. तो अब आप देखिए, अगर आपका कॉस्ट 100 था तो प्रॉफिट आप कितना कमा रहे थे? 25 कमा रहे थे. यही था ना. अगर आप कॉस्ट 1 कमा रहे हैं तो प्रॉफिट कितना कमाएंगे? 25/100. अगर आप कॉस्ट इतना कमा रहे हैं, अगर आप कॉस्ट 6,40,000 कमा रहे हैं तो 25/100 इंटू 6,40,000, जो आप प्रॉफिट कमा रहे हैं वो कितना हो गया? 1,60,000. यस नो. अब सेल्स क्या हो जाएगा? सेल्स का फॉर्मूला COGS प्लस ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट. तो COGS कितना है? 6,40,000 प्लस 1,60,000. सेल्स हो गया 8 लाख. सेल्स कितने का हो गया? 8 लाख. अब क्या निकालना है? Nothing else needs to be calculated. From the following informations, calculate stock turnover ratio. From the following informations, calculate stock turnover ratio. Credit revenue from operations 3 lakh. Credit revenue from operations rupees 3 lakhs. Cash revenue from operations rupees 1 lakh. Gross profit 25% cost. Gross profit 25% of cost. Next is closing inventory was 3 times the opening inventory. Closing inventory was 3 times the opening inventory. Full stop. Opening inventory was 10% of cost of revenue from operations. Opening inventory was 10% of cost of revenue from operations. थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है. बनेगा क्या? How many students are there in the class? 16. Roll number 20. Come here. Get it signed from roll number 18. Four times. Has anybody else come to the conclusion of 4 times? Roll 27. From the girl side, anybody? Roll 31 has come. Right. Try to solve